Hey, what's going on? In today's video, I want to talk about morning routines. So I'm sure you've probably seen a ton of videos or books that also talk about morning routines. And I started taking mine more seriously probably, God, I don't know, a few years ago now. And I've just iterated and pivoted my morning routines and added things and took things away over the past few years now, and I feel like it's been pretty optimized for my lifestyle and for what I want to accomplish in the mornings. So, yeah, I'll just share kind of what I go through in case you want some inspiration or if you want to implement your own morning routine. This is kind of the things that I do in the mornings that help me kickstart the day so it's more productive. So first things first is I have an alarm clock that's set for 4 a.m. And this is one of those alarm clocks that starts to brighten up. And I think it's like 20 minutes before 4 a.m. It's like this little ball of light, and it slowly goes from like a orangey color to like a bright white light. So it kind of mimics like the sunrise, so to speak. And that's nice because at that point, I'm like kind of slowly waking up, and I can see that that light's starting to turn on. So that means that it's almost 4. So it gives me some time to just lay in bed and kind of slowly get myself ready for the day. And then at 4 a.m., I'll wake up to the sound of like birds chirping from that alarm. I read from a book saying that it's not good to have like jarring noises to wake you up because your dream body's in like a different dimension or whatever, and I don't know the science or spirituality or physics behind it, but it just makes sense, right? Like if you think about those annoying alarm clocks that like kind of jar you up, like it's a scary experience, right? So I don't like to be scared awake. So that's why I invested in an alarm clock that, number one, it can have that slowly brightening effect in terms of the light. And number two, it has like ocean sounds and birds chirping sounds. So usually I'll wake up at around 4 or like 4:05 or 4:10. And then from there, I'll go to the washroom. And during my time in the washroom, what I'll do is I'll go through like a list of affirmations and just quotes and just different sayings that I want to prime my brain with. And I'll do that. I'll, shower, do whatever, and then usually by the time I'm out of the bathroom, it's at 4:30, and from 4:30 to 4:35 ish, I'll roll my foam roller for about 5 minutes, and I'll also lay on some yoga blocks to really open up my chest because I work at a desk, so I spend all day hunched over with my mouse and on the keyboard. So I find that when I lay on my yoga blocks and I lay on it with the blocks on my spine so I can really just let go and open up my arms, it allows for my chest to open so I'm not so tight in my shoulders. So I do that for about 5 minutes, and then what I'll do is I'll do about 10 minutes of Wim Hof breath work. So I'll just go to YouTube and find one of his videos. I'll do 3 rounds of his breath work, and then I'll do a 30-minute meditation. So before the new year, I was doing a 30-minute Joe Dispenza meditation. It was a guided meditation. And then this year, for the next 12 weeks, I'm going to experiment with mental rehearsal. So I read the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Waltz, I believe, or Maxwell Maltz. I think that's his name. And he talks about mental rehearsal for just priming your day. So I'm going to do 30 minutes of just priming my day, imagining how my day's going to go, and envisioning like the perfect day, so to speak. And then I'm going to do just experiment that for the next 12 weeks. So after I'm done my meditation, By that time, it's around, let's say, 5:30 a.m. I'll then sit down on this sofa behind me. I'll read for about 30 minutes, and then I'll read like maybe a spirituality book and then maybe a money making or marketing book or business book. So those are kind of the books that I'll read in the mornings. And then at that point, it'll be 6 a.m. And then I'll spend an hour or so watching some trainings. So right now I'm watching some Russell Brunson and just going through some of his trainings. Before I was watching some Frank Kern trainings, and then I'll just cycle through a few different trainings within that hour. I found that I would buy certain trainings, but I wouldn't go through them. And I felt like if it was important enough for me, then having it early in the morning would allow me to actually get it done. So once I switched that to having some training time in the mornings, I've been able to go through a ton more courses and trainings, which has been awesome. So by that time, it'll be 7 a.m. And then what I'll do is I'll do a 10-minute yoga Peloton. So I'll go to the Peloton website. I think it's like $12 a month or something. So I subscribe to that. I watch a 10-minute yoga session. And then I'll also do like a 10-minute strength workout from Peloton. So that's nice because it's guided, right? There's a trainer, coach on screen. They kind of tell you what to do and you kind of do the workout with them. So it's nice. Saves a lot of time from having to drive to and from a gym. And although it's not like a full-on, 30-minute or 60-minute workout, it's enough for me at this point in my life to just maintain my fitness activity as opposed to training hard for something. I did a lot of that in my 20s, and now it's time to just maintain. So from 7:30 or so to 8 o'clock, that's when I'll start to get ready for work. I'll make a tea or make a drink. I'll sit at my desk and I'll just review some like motivations and different visioning sheets that I've done in the past that really, again, primes myself to understand like why I'm doing what I'm doing, like what am I working towards. So that's where I go through the vision. Usually it's like a 3-year or 5-year vision, and then I'll spend 10 minutes or so doing that. And at 8 o'clock, I'll start writing for 30 minutes. So this is like free writing. There's no agenda, there's no format. I just write whatever it is that's on my mind. And then sometimes I'll turn it into like an actual post that I'll post on Facebook. Or sometimes I'll sit down with the intention of writing something that I will post and make public. But I usually have it so it's unstructured and unfiltered, so I can really just dump everything that's going on in my head onto Evernote. And that's a nice way to just clear the slate for me, to have a fresh slate when I start work at around 8:30. So that's my morning routine. I know there's quite a bit in there, and yeah, I feel like now that I've started waking up at 4 a.m., I don't know if I can wake up later. I feel like anytime I wake up later, especially during the weekday, I'm like stealing from myself, right? Like I'm not able to do certain things that I had planned and that I want to do in the morning if I wake up any later than 4. So yeah, I feel like it's a great practice, whether it's 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., or whatever time works for you, or even if you're not a morning person, if you're a night owl, then having some time in the evening for you to do your, the stuff that you want to do, I feel that's super important as well. I know not everyone's built the same. Not everyone is a morning person. I think it probably is trainable, but a key part of being a morning person is definitely going to bed earlier, right? So for me, I go to bed at around 9:30 or so. I feel like if I go to bed, like if it's like 10 or later, and I try to wake up at 4, then I'm going to have a lot tougher of a time getting up at 4 than if I go to bed at like 9 p.m. or 9:30, then getting up at 4 is just a lot easier. So that's a big factor as well. I think it's, really important to have different routines and habits in place that moves us towards our goal and allows for compound interest to take place. So each day I'm getting better and better by 1%. And over the course of 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years, whatever habit you've included in your routine, it's just gonna snowball and it's gonna be super beneficial. So I highly recommend having a morning routine. If you don't, I feel like it's just one of those things now that it's almost essential for any person who wants to achieve their goals. Is if they can win their morning, then they can win the rest of their day. And I feel like by the time I start work, I've already accomplished so much that now that momentum just carries me forward to the actual work that I do throughout the day. So I hope this video was helpful. If you want, you can share your morning routine in the comments as well. I would love to hear what you do in the mornings. And until then, I will see you in the next video.